Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, January 19th, 2016. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. There is no credibility to a rumor that a male using motor vehicle HB4370 is engaged in human trafficking here. The assurance came from Inspector Hawkins Nanton, the head of the Public Relations and Complaints Department of the RSVG Police Force, as he spoke with SVG-TV News on a bulletin which has been circulating on social media. Nanton makes it clear that the bulletin is a fake one.
I would just like to say that the anti-trafficking in persons unit of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, we're basically using the opportunity to inform the public that there's no credible claim to a rumor being circulated on social media that a male using motor vehicle HB3470 is engaging in human trafficking. Our preliminary investigations also shows that the bulletin being circulated was first and foremost not issued by any department or unit of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force.
Nanton further added that the vehicle registration HB3470 as well as the identity of the person in the photo do not exist in their database, and called on the public to desist from spreading false information which can cause alarm.
So at this time, we do not know the origin of the information. We also used the opportunity to contact the traffic department, and that department stated that the vehicle registration number HB3470 does not exist. Neither does the identity of the person in the photo which was posted. Also, we would like to let the public know that the means of human trafficking is not known, because if there is a claim that someone is engaging in human trafficking, you have to describe what sort of human trafficking they are engaging in, and our preliminary investigations does not indicate that the means of trafficking was described. So the anti-trafficking in persons unit is informing the public. Yes, we understand the public's concern, but we are appealing to people to desist from spreading inaccurate information that can cause alarm.
And the police force is appealing for the support of the general public as they seek to crack down on criminal activities in the country. Speaking at a media conference yesterday afternoon, Commissioner of Police Reynold Hadaway said whilst there are mechanisms in place for officers to carry out their duties, the public support is of critical importance in the police fight against crime.
But I would like to say that despite all that, we are appealing to the public to give us their support, cooperate with the police, because we cannot, and we continue to emphasize, we cannot fight the war, if you want to call it that, against criminality without information. Yes, we have an intelligence mechanism in place, and we are working towards even bettering that mechanism. But be that as it may, the eyes of the public plays an important part in bringing matters to the police attention. And once those matters come to our attention, again, we take it forward at this ward and see how best we can address the complaints that are coming from persons out there.
Responding to a question relating to reported abuse by the hands of the police, Commissioner Hadaway said such reports are taken seriously with both an internal and external body in place to deal with such reports.
Let's say that the Commissioner of Police comes to the conclusion that the action of the police were within the law. The person or persons who are so affected has a means as well outside of the police organization to adjust their concerns. And those sort of complaints continue to be brought to our attention, and we are taking them for what they are worth. In terms of the external body, have intervened on several occasions, and should they intervene, we have to provide all the information for them to make a determination as to whether the action of the police was right or wrong accordingly.
On the issue of permits to have a legal firearm, Commissioner Hadaway explained that there is a procedure in place for persons desirous of holding such, which must be followed.
Application is received, a process will be, assessment will be conducted, and a determination made as to whether or not the person is so fit to be in possession of a legal firearm. That has been around for quite a period now. Prior to where it is, where there's a board that addressed that, it was a matter that resides solely with the Commissioner of Police. But even then, an assessment has to be made as to the ability, the mentality, etc., of the individual, competencies, and as you know, we have a mechanism in place where we train persons who are so desirous so that they can better take care of those firearms and that it does not come a danger to them themselves. So that process is on board.
And the public is being notified that the Office of the Police Oversight Body, or the POB, is now located at the Ministry of National Security on the 4th floor of the financial complex. The POB was set up to investigate, adjudicate, and report on cases of excesses against persons by members of the police force. Persons wishing to lodge complaints shall do so in person, make an appointment with the secretary, or in writing in a sealed envelope to the chairman, Bishop Sonny Williams, at the above-mentioned office, Mondays to Fridays between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 noon. The chairman can also be contacted at telephone numbers 457-9242 or 456-5194. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines remains a solid tourism brand, so says Labor Minister Camilo Gonçalves, commenting on the closure of the 5-star Buccaman Bay Resort. Gonçalves told SVG-TV News in an interview earlier this week that while the Buccaman Bay Resort as well as the Harlequin Resort brand took a huge hit because of the closure, which he stated reflecting negatively on the country, it will not be fair to state that SVG's tourism is doomed.
We're fairly new to tourism, to mass market tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But this is not the first hotel that has been closed or failed or gone bankrupt. So this is something that happens from time to time. It's never a good thing, but it's also not such a unique thing that you can say, well, you know, St. Vincent tourism has been damaged irreparably. I don't believe that to be the case.
The Labor Minister stressed that, contrary to some views, the local tourism industry is flourishing, highlighting major developments that are taking place nationally.
Hotels that are expanding here on mainland St. Vincent. We have new hotels being built or being expanded in Beckway, in Canawan. We have new proposals for tourism in Union Island. We're going to break ground this Thursday on a new facility out at Mount Wynn. So there is considerable interest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a tourism destination. And you can measure this by the number of startups and expansions of hotels occurring across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. High-end ones in the southern Grenadines, exclusive bread and breakfast type ones in Beckway, new villas coming on stream on the mainland. So I think we have a great product. I think St. Vincent and the Grenadines is really a spectacular tourism destination.
When asked about his feelings toward the embattled business Britishman David Ames, who is CEO of the Buccaman Bay Resort, the Labour Minister said while Ames' business vision is desirable, his treatment to Vincentian employees is appalling.
The way in which he dealt with Vincentian workers was abominable. You can't have people working for months and not paying them. I mean, that is inexcusable by any stretch. And if by virtue of some difficulty, I mean, all businesses can run into difficulty. If by virtue of some difficulty you have a cash crunch or a cash flow problem and you haven't paid 200 workers, you have to take these workers into your confidence and explain to them honestly and forthrightly when they can expect to get their money. in my personal conversation with Mr. Ames, all I can tell you is that in the space of a 24-hour period, what he committed to me on Monday and what was said to me on the next day, not by him but by his attorneys, was markedly different. He was not forthright with me.
Mindful of the fact that heads of missions are positioned to seek opportunities which will benefit the country, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sir Louis Straker, while speaking at a recent handing over ceremony at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, highlighted some of the work being done by various heads of missions to secure employment for Vincentians abroad, pointing out that the mandate was given at consultations held here last August between the government and all heads of missions. Sir Louis said he is pleased with the work carried out since then.
Consul General Huggins has been a man hard at work in order to produce for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and you have heard some of the things that he has sent to the various institutions, departments in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But what has not been given great prominence is the fact that recently he has been throughout the length and breadth of Canada seeking employment. He was with, the ministry asked Saboto Caesar to please join him in Canada, and they went to Prince Edward Island, they went to Nova Scotia, they were in Toronto, and they went to Alberta to seek employment for Vincentians in all areas. Yellowknife. That's the Northern Territory. To seek employment for Vincentians, and it appears that their mission was very successful. We are waiting to reap the harvest.
Highlighting that some 181 Vincentians, 67% of which are females, have passed the British Navy examinations, the Deputy Prime Minister also thanked British High Commissioner Sir Senior Lewis for his efforts in decreasing the unemployment levels here in SVG.
The highest pass for the exam that they have ever received in England and anywhere in the Commonwealth was a young man, I've forgotten his name, from New Montrose. Passed the highest of any person within the Commonwealth and England for the British Navy. He's also working to see whether we could not get some nurses from St. Vincent and the Grenadines to go to England. And of course, Consul General Huggins is working in that direction. We know that officials from the Isle of Wight were here, and it did not bear the kind of fruit that we would like, but we have not given up, because we have to keep at it and persevere and work hard, and sometimes there is a breakthrough.
Sir Louis further pledged the commitment of his ministry in continuing to seek opportunities which promote the betterment of SVG, especially through all heads of missions.
We do not want them to sit at a desk and wait for people in the diaspora to come to them, and that's all that they do abroad. We pay them, even though the pay might not be of the best, in order to produce for us here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Every minister in government, whether it's the Minister of Health, the Minister of Agriculture, or the Minister of Social Development, once they leave St. Vincent and the Grenadines and travel abroad, there is an element of foreign affairs to their ministry that they are to seek through their networking, through their contacts, to see what they can bring in to redound to the benefit of our people here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So it is a work that all of us, only that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs might be the coordinator.
Vincentians here at home are being invited to apply for the Foreign English Teachers Program, or FET program, with the Ministry of Education of the Republic of China, Taiwan. The program will allow successful applicants to live and work in Taiwan as English teachers for a period of 1 year. Additionally, the government of Japan, through its embassy in Trinidad and Tobago, is currently accepting applications under the Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Projects, or GGP, for the fiscal year 2017. The GGP is a financial assistance scheme for development projects. The scheme supports projects proposed by non-profit organizations as well as non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, schools, hospitals, and local government authorities, designed to benefit communities at the grassroots level. The banana accompanying measures will continue to build capacity for local farmers. That's according to coordinator of the banana accompanying measures, Ricardo Frederick, as he spoke on Tuesday at the Langley Park Palletization Center. Frederick stated that the banana accompanying measures, or BAM, began in 2013 with grant funding from the European Union of around $30 million and has engaged in major projects here, which include the refurbishment of the Langley Park Palletization Center, the construction of a road and greenhouse at Montreal, as well as a science lab at the Technical College. Whilst highlighting some of the capacity building projects under the BAM program, Frederick expressed confidence in the program's success.
All activities under the program would be completed by the end of 2017. We also have a lot of capacity building programs. We are producing, with the help of some consultants out of Barbados, youth in agriculture policy. We also have a lot of marketing training for farmers and farmers organization. We also have a consultancy where we are developing what we call SVG gaps for standards, agricultural standards on farm, for practices, good agricultural practices. So in essence, the program is on stream, ongoing, and we're hoping, and we must say that this banana accompanying measures will definitely have an impact on the agriculture sector and our production, yield, and export of all agriculture commodities.
And Minister of Agriculture Soboto Caesar also expressed confidence in the success of the BAM program and announced that aerial spraying is expected to commence soon, and encouraged stakeholders in the banana industry to ensure that measures are implemented to take full advantage of the spraying operations.
I know that at this time many farmers are still in recovery mode. I want to note to the stakeholders in the banana industry that the aircraft for aerial spraying should be airborne within the next 2 weeks, and that I was advised by Mr. Koromo Brown, who is the head of the Banana Services Unit, that farmers must take all measures to de-leaf and to keep their farms clean so that we benefit the most when we have the next aerial cycle. There are several ground teams which are continuing to do excellent work, and I just want to encourage all the farmers of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that the banana accompanying measures will continue to deliver in 2017.
With some 103 countries around the world having agreed to translate the global land degradation neutrality target to country specifics and actions, a workshop commenced here today to begin the land degradation neutrality, or LDN, target setting process in SVG. The event is hosted by the Forestry Division in the Ministry of Agriculture, Rural Transformation, Forestry and Fisheries, with support from the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, or UNCCD, and the Global Mechanism in collaboration with Regional Consultants Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management, or PISLM Task Force. Highlighting the objectives of the LDN project, coordinator of the PISLM Task Force, Calvin James, outlined that LDN initiative, which stems from the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, is aimed at assisting countries to develop effective and efficient measures to combat land degradation. He added that the target setting process presents a major opportunity for countries to increase their coherence, scale, and resource mobilization to deal with the issue.
Blocks of this journey are the result of extensive discussions with country parties and stakeholders and is based on the best practice and results from a pilot project that took place with 14 pioneer countries, using the LDN as a lens to foster coherence of national policies, actions and commitments, from agriculture policy to climate action and restoration commitments, moving from pilot to scale, from a plethora of small-scale, scattered and fragmented projects, a large-scale, transformative, bold project to achieve the country LDN targets can be formulated. Creating blended finance packages to finance the transition towards land degradation neutrality, creatively combining public and private, national and international, climate and development resources.
James noted that in order to achieve the successful implementation of the project, all stakeholders must play their role.
Together with our partners, we are committing to support countries in tapping these opportunities. Let us boldly move forward on the journey to achieving a land degradation neutrality country by country. And so we are pleased to have St. Vincent the Grenadines contributing in this exciting journey. I count on your leadership and your commitment, and we look forward to working closely with all of you and show the global community how we turn LDN vision into reality, starting with this LDN target setting process today and moving into LDN implementation tomorrow.
Highlighting that the Forestry Division is assigned as the focal point for the UNCCD, Director of Forestry Fitzgerald Providence noted that like many other small island nations, SVG continues to battle with the effects of climate change, which has impacted negatively on lands.
Desertification, that's something. We're in the tropics. We're not going to be a desert in terms of it. But we have, it's also called the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification and Land Degradation. And one of that thing we are seeing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the degradation of our lands. For the years, been battling that deforestation in critical areas, also the erosion of our coasts, particularly the destruction of our mangroves, and also other coastal vegetation that degrade our land. And when you degrade your land, it cannot be a productive land. And we know we are a country of agriculture, and when the land is degraded, we cannot grow our crops as effectively as possible. We're starting the process here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines today, and I hope to see more stakeholder engagement as we make this first step off in terms of the process.
And Chief Executive Officer of Go Getter magazine, Storm Gonsalves, who delivered brief remarks to the gathering at the NTRC event today, shared some lessons he learned from being a social media entrepreneur. The son of Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves spoke of the importance of having an entrepreneurial spirit and called on youngsters to utilize the medium not only to socialize, but to build their brand and a business.
The beauty about technology is that the only capital you truly need is human capital. All you need is a computer and an internet connection. You are blessed to live in a country where the government provides you with both for free. All else that is needed is your concentration and time. The internet is a treasure trove of information. You can learn how to build your own software, and when you have a hard skill like programming, your only cost of building something is time. To succeed in the internet business, or any business for that matter, you must continuously learn and experiment. Just like science, business strategies and tactics can be discovered, invented, and improved upon. This lesson is so important. All globally successful entrepreneurs set aside at least 5 hours a week for active learning.
Gonsalves noted the transparency of the internet today affords what is termed as, quote, net neutrality, unquote, where persons can develop their ideas.
In the days before the internet, business success could depend on race, geography, political affiliation, or access to the factors of production, especially land, labor, and capital. Some people may ignore a product because it was produced by a certain race or came from a certain country. The internet erases these issues by allowing the free exchange of information. You can be a coder in Bangalore, India, or Chateaubriand, St. Vincent, and create software that can be distributed and used by billions globally. There is no mention of race or country, only solutions to problems. You either want this solution or not, and it doesn't matter where you are or who you are. This is called net neutrality, and it's something we should fight to preserve, as it is the only way we have any hope of reaching the wider world.